Liz McDade, a huge Columbo fan and small business owner living in Santa Cruz, California, and this is my brother.
I'm Paul McDade, an actor and editor working in the TV and film industry in Los Angeles. And this is Trenchcoat, Cigar, Peugeot, Wandering with Columbo. In each episode, we'll bring you a little Hollywood history, glamour, and behind the scenes as we walk you through Columbo, one of America's greatest TV detective series.
Yes. And today we are talking about the episode Dead Weight, which is from season 1, and it's episode 3 or episode 4 if you count the pilot. And tonight's drink is a martini. Paul, we better prosecute these martinis before their statute of limitations expire. And our snack is a green salad, which we'll see both of these, the drink and the snack, in the episode tonight.
I have to confess, Liz, I didn't do the salad tonight. I just got overwhelmed with stuff, so I got a martini, though.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I have a martini, too, and I did make a super simple salad. I tried to copy what I saw on the show. It's just green lettuce and tomatoes, chunks, like big old chunks, and then a little dressing on top. Tell me about your martini, Paul.
So I didn't put any of the olive juice to make it dirty, which I should have done, but I did 2 big olives that have garlic inside of them.
Ooh.
The really good vermouth is Noilly Prat, which is something our brother Sean got for us one time, and it's really good. And so that's what I mixed with the Trader Joe's gin. It tastes pretty good. How about yours?
Mine is classic gin martini with I really like the Bombay Sapphire gin. That's like a yummy gin to me.
Yeah.
And then I make it dirty so that there's a little color to it. And then I had a splash of vermouth, but it's not fancy. It's like the vermouth I can get at the grocery store. It's nothing.
Yeah. You should have taken my vermouth and I should have taken your gin.
For me, I think the gin and the olive juice is that's where most of the flavor comes from. So it's pretty good.
I also have Topo Chico Twist and Lime as a little seltzer water.
Oh, nice. I have some seltzer water too.
See?
We have like a soda stream, where you make your own seltzer water.
Yeah.
I have a big old bottle of that.
We have one. We just haven't gotten the new cartridge.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a hassle, actually.
Or redo the old cartridge to get a new one.
Well, we got our beverage here. Should we get into this episode?
Yeah. Let's charge into Dead Weight.
Let's do it. So in this episode, General Hollister, played by Eddie Albert, is approached by a fellow military colleague who he's actually been doing some under-the-table kind of dirty business with this other person, Lieutenant or Sergeant Dutton. And Dutton approaches Hollister and says, we're being investigated. I'm fleeing the country. You might want to too. And Hollister's like, what are you talking about? I would never do that. We're never going to get caught. And Dutton's like, oh, we might though. And so Hollister decides he needs to kill him. There is a witness to the murder. Mrs. Stewart is on a little sailboat right outside of his home at the time of the shooting. And so the episode is about Mrs. Stewart and General Hollister kind of building a relationship because he wants to change her mind about him. So they're building a romantic relationship while Columbo is trying to grasp for some kind of clues to connect Hollister to this Dutton fellow who goes missing. So back to this opening scene, Hollister's in his baby blue bathrobe, getting ready for his day when Lieutenant Dutton comes over to his home and has this conversation about, what's going to happen with him being investigated and the fact that General Hollister might be exposed. And so General Hollister decides in the moment to kill him, and we don't actually see the murder. I really kind of like the way they edited this, Paul. I don't know how you felt about it, but you just see Dutton get very frightened, and then you quickly cut to Mrs. Stewart, and her mom on a little bitty sailboat in their fabulous 70s garb. And Mrs. Stewart like sees something happen and is like startled.
Yeah, I thought it was smart in some ways. Like you said, I feel differently depending on what the project is or what the movie is or the television show. But as I get older, even now, like I've been writing a script and my partner that were the new scenes that he wrote and they were very violent, and I sort of toned it down because I felt like it didn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like it felt easy and like not that interesting. Like it just felt like kind of, I don't want to shy away from that reality in a sense, but I feel like people are so numb to it. It's just kind of like, just like the original Columbo pilot, like you said, like that where he's choking her forever, and you're just like, okay. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I was glad that it was really quick.
Yeah.
But you didn't see it.
Right. Yeah. And actually, my youngest daughter, Beatrice, was sitting next to me earlier while I was rewatching some of this, and she wanted to see the part with the ladies on the sailboat, and she did not want to see any violence. And I was like, there is no violence. And she's like, I don't want to see that. And I was like, yeah, that you don't see anything in this one. It's kind of cool. So Mrs. Stewart and her mom are on this little rented sailboat, and she's wearing this awesome red, white, and black paisley sport coat with a matching bandana around her hair.
It's wrapped around her head, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And then she's wearing it over like a navy blue kind of sweater, shirt, and some navy pants or jeans. Both of them are so matchy-matchy in this whole episode. I love it. I think it's awesome. It's just like this little slice of fashion history right there. Mrs. Walters is wearing these bright yellow pants with a matching same shade floppy yellow hat, and then her shirt is matching yellow with white and blue and more like golden flowers. So the two of them are just super, these like little bright spots out there on the water on this little sailboat. And one thing I noticed in the background, there's a super fit paddleboarder going by them in the background. I don't know if you noticed him, Paul.
Yeah, with the tan. Yeah, really nice tan.
Nice tan on this cool old-fashioned like paddle boat, which was cool. So I don't know if you want to talk at all about Eddie Albert. All I know about him really is that he was in Green Acres, that TV show.
Yeah.
With the theme song, I still remember that theme song, and that was with Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like the country bumpkin, and she was the fancy city wife, and somehow he convinced her to move out to the country with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know too much. I wanted to spend more time on him because he's sort of enigmatic in just like who he was. I mean, he lived to be 99.
Whoa.
And he was a circus trapeze flyer before he became a stage and radio actor. I just read that on the IMDb. But he did have interesting roles. Like I watched the movie called The Heartbreak Kid that Ben Stiller redid, but he was in the original one that Elaine May directed, and it's based on a book. Neil Simon did the script, and Eddie Albert plays this rich father, and he actually goes on a boat in the movie, and Charles Grodin falls in love with his daughter, even though Charles Grodin's already married, and he meets his daughter on when Charles Grodin is on his honeymoon.
Uh-oh.
So yes. It's kind of a gnarly story. Eddie Albert is really good. Like he can't believe the guts and the behavior of this guy who wants his daughter. I mean, I've seen other films that he was in, like Roman Holiday. Mm-hmm. I'd seen Green Acres. I saw this movie called McHugh with John Wayne, and he played John Wayne's superior in the police force. And it's kind of a similar role, but you almost feel like he might be corrupt. And so he was well cast, and I wish he'd had more scenes. He didn't have a ton of scenes. But yeah, no, I find Eddie Albert very interesting to watch. I think some of the times he's just kind of simple, but he definitely is truthful, I feel, with his consternation and his, it's got to be by the book, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But he's always in a suit.
Yeah.
or a bathrobe, I guess. Usually
right.
So maybe they got him into something different this time. But he always plays this kind of character, I feel, sort of like the straight, guy who's It's got to be this way or no way.
Interesting. I'll have to watch him. And the only thing I know of his is Green Acres, which I have not seen in probably decades, since I was like, a little kid and there was nothing else on to watch. It was like, what are you going to watch? The news or Green Acres?
Yeah.
It was never a first choice kind of a show.
No. I don't know if I ever sat through the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever finished a whole show either. So Mrs. Stewart, she's played by Suzanne Pleshette.
Yeah.
And I just saw this from IMDb that she was in Newhart as Bob Newhart. Was it called Newhart? The Bob Newhart?
The Bob Newhart show, and then they had some other versions, but I think just Newhart. But she was only like in one episode in that.
Yeah, so she played his wife, I guess. I think she had a few episodes.
In the Bob Newhart show, yes, but not.
Oh,
Newhart.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Not in the reboot.
Yeah, Suzanne Pleshette, I always liked her. She was friends with Lew Wasserman, who ran Universal for a number of years. I talked about on the last podcast we did.
Uh-huh.
And she was real good friends with Lew Wasserman's wife. And she's in that documentary talking about Lew Wasserman and Lew Wasserman's wife. But she did so many different roles and, a lot of Universal productions. I saw her in Alfred Hitchcock Presents. That one's from like 1960, so it was like 11 years before this episode. And it's funny, she mentioned Crime and Punishment and Dostoevsky in that episode, which is, William Link and Richard Levinson, kind of part of their impetus for Columbo comes from the Crime and Punishment thing. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Where does she mention Crime and Punishment, Paul?
In the Hitchcock episode from 1960, so a long time ago. So it's just kind of random.
Yeah.
She was also in a show called Dr. Kildare. Now, do you remember that, Dr. Kildare?
No, I don't remember that.
They did a voice at the end, similar in the Lee Grant episode of Columbo. I guess it was episode 1.
Yeah. It was not the pilot, but technically it was 1.
Yeah, at the very end of the airport. She worked on that series, and a lot of people worked on that, actually. Like William Link and Richard Levinson worked on it as writers, and the director of this episode, Jack Smite, he worked on Dr. Kildare. The screenwriter of this episode, John T. Dugan, he worked on Dr. Kildare. But it's probably because it's Universal, so you had a lot of the same crossover.
Yeah. I saw that Suzanne Pleshette was also on Will and Grace. I didn't actually...
Yeah.
I only watched a little bit of that show, so I don't actually remember her character at all. But I think she had a small recurring role on there.
Yeah, I saw that too, but I didn't watch it. She was in Hitchcock's The Birds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's a big one. She did a voice in Spirited Away, which is
I saw that.
Really great. Did you ever watch that movie?
No.
It's amazing. Really, it's a Miyazaki.
Yes. No, we did watch that. That's about the bathhouse for the spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that one. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I love that.
It's a good one.
It's probably might have been my favorite. I saw that in Chicago. Didn't know anything about the filmmaker, but Roger Ebert put it on his top 10. And
cool.
Yeah, St. John and I. So she did the voice of Yubaba and Zaniba, which might have been like the person that older lady who runs the bathhouse.
Yeah.
I think that might have been her.
Yeah, that makes sense. We watched that with the girls not super long ago, actually. We all really enjoyed it. Okay, so we met our main actors here. After she witnesses, Mrs. Stewart, played by Suzanne Pleshette, witnesses a shooting through the window of General Hollister's waterfront home. They dock the little sailboat, and we meet Mr. Barnes, who runs the sailboat rental, who's played by Val Avery.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is actually his first episode of Columbo, but he's actually in a few more episodes of Columbo. He's kind of one of the recurring actors. Yeah,
Val Avery actually was in a Twilight Zone episode with Art Carney, where he plays a bartender named Bruce. It's an old one. It's like a live, I'm pretty sure it's live, but it's the same director of this episode.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he did another movie with this director, and that was called The Traveling Executioner. And it is a very strange film, but it had some really good qualities. It was butchered by the guy who ran the studio at the time, who Jack Smite did not like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Val Avery also did a movie with Timothy Carey, who plays Bert in this. Yeah, they both were in a John Cassavetes film called Minnie and Moskowitz, where there's a lot of improv. But yeah, Val Avery, I saw another movie with him with Sean Connery called The Anderson Tapes. And his nose looks different. It's really weird. It's like, I felt like he got punched in this movie called Anderson Tapes with it's got Sean Connery and Christopher Walken. It's an old film. Sidney Lumet directed. Yeah, Avery is a great actor. People are like, oh, so-and-so's a great character actor. But it's just like, no, these are like good actors, you know, whether they're small or big. There's no small parts, really, in a way, to me, because sometimes they outshine the rest of the cast, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just like the guy at the getting the boats.
Yeah, so funny. He has a little funny exchange with Mrs. Walters about tying up the boat. She thinks he's hitting on her in like some kind of vulgar language when he's just asking her for like a certain rope.
The stern, yeah, like to tie up her stern or something. Tie up the stern.
Yeah, that was funny. I like that part.
Yeah, and Kate Reid, she's really good. So she studied at Uta Hagen and Uta Hagen's husband, Herbert Berghoff. I watched a movie called The Andromeda Strain, and she plays a doctor, scientist. She was the most, to me, interesting character performance in that film. In this episode, I think there's always a lot of conflict with her and her daughter, but I really like watching her, just her reaction, like when the boat's pulling up and her daughter's directing the boat and it looks like she's like about to fall over.
I really loved her character and her performance in this episode. I thought she was really great. She was like a little treat sprinkled throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot. Okay, so after they get off the boat, Mrs. Stewart makes the call to the police that she has witnessed a shooting, and then she files a report with a police officer on the docks. And then they heads over back to General Hollister's home, where Columbo's going to go in and try to figure out what's going on here. So, of course, I had to find out where was this filmed? Where's this house? It looks like it was filmed on this little bitty private island that's part of Balboa Island, which is part of Newport Beach. It's called Collins Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not exactly an island. I mean, maybe technically it's an island, but the bridge from the island to the land is like a 10-foot bridge. And it has just a handful of homes. And of course, they're all, waterfront, pretty spectacular homes. I wasn't able to find a super recent photo of the house or like a good photo of the house today, but it's currently, so the address is number 2 Collins Island in Newport Beach, and it's valued at about $12 million right now.
The exterior at the boat, is that the same as when they go through the gate?
Yes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yes, they actually filmed it, the exterior on the waterfront and the exterior in the driveway. They filmed it on Collins Island, and it looks like it's actually number 2.
And those are apartments, aren't they? Or is that his whole home, that huge place?
No, that's his whole house. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you about it, Paul. I got some info here. So it's valued at about $12 million. It's 5,649 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It was built in 1965. It's been remodeled. At a minimum, the exterior has been remodeled since Columbo was filmed there, because right now it doesn't have the same. You wouldn't really recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has all those waterfront, floor to ceiling windows and like sliding doors, and it has the same dock, that like yacht sized dock, that makes a nice little U around the yacht. It still has that, and it still has the decks, but they changed the roof line and just the way it looks. The house next door is for sale at the bargain price of $9.25 million. But I did a little deep dive. I mean, I just kind of Wikipedia'd this here about Collins Island, and I found a little connection to you and, to like where you are and places I've been with you in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So this property was sold in 1902 by James McFadden, and it was sold to William S. Collins, who thought, okay, I'm going to develop this and make some good money, but I need a business partner. So he reached out to Henry E. Huntington to help develop this little island and some other properties in this area in Newport. And Henry E. Huntington, you probably heard of, Paul, the railroad magnate and collector of art and rare books. And he had substantial, this is all from Wikipedia, substantial real estate interests. So he was a big supporter for the city of Los Angeles, helping to develop and create special places. So his legacy includes the Huntington Library, Art Museum, and Gardens, which I've been to with you. And then I guess Huntington Beach, the whole city, Huntington Park, and Huntington Lake are all named for him, as well as Huntington Hospital, Huntington Middle School in San Marino, Huntington Drive, and then there was another park that was going to be named for him, but it got changed to a different name. So now instead he has a boulder known as Huntington Rock. Anyhow, so Huntington helped develop that. And I don't know how much he contributed to that actual home, but he was part of building it. And then there's another little entry here in Wikipedia that James Cagney bought Collins Island, or possibly won it in a poker game. But Cagney sold the island in 1948. So I'm not sure what was on the island before then, but the house was built in 65. So maybe that's when all of the big houses went up.
Oh, it was part of Catalina Island?
No, it's separate. It's its own little island.
And our daughter was born at Huntington Hospital.
Oh, cool.
And then I did 2 plays at Huntington Beach.
So many connections. Awesome. Yeah, it's cool to hear about because you guys have taken when we visit you in LA, we've been to Huntington Gardens. I think we've gone twice now. But it's neat to just hear a little bit about the history of, because when we're there with the kids and we're just checking out all the cool things to look at, and I'm never reading any plaques or anything like that. So this was a nice moment to kind of learn about where did that Huntington Gardens come from.
The Huntington Library, we've met different people who've done research there, and they have stuff in the museum. Like they did a big thing on Octavia Butler, the African-American writer, science fiction writer, a woman from Pasadena. So they do a lot of interesting, cool things there. Like they have garden shows with flowers, different types of flowers and stuff that you can see that people in the local area make.
Oh, that's cool. Is Huntington Library the one that you've taken us to with the giant tree and the huge roots? Or that's South Pasadena Library?
Yeah, that's South Pasadena, yeah.
Okay. So I don't think we've been to Huntington Library. But it sounds cool.
The only way you could go there, well, you and Elliot could go there, your husband, because of you guys could do research there, but you have to have, permission.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of shows. Like I said, they did one on Octavia Butler, who's a really cool writer. I have one of her books. She's not like Philip K. Dick, but she does have, I haven't read enough of her stuff, but there's a new biography coming out on her by another Pasadena writer, Linnell George, who's also African-American. She's a LA Times writer. She just did a thing. It's going to come out soon on Octavia Butler. I think Ava DuVernay, the filmmaker.
Oh, yeah, I know her.
Writer, producer. I think she bought the rights to some of Octavia's books.
Oh, cool.
But they're super scary. Like the one I read was really good. I can't remember the name of it, but it was gruesome and very interesting. But I wouldn't have known about her unless I had been at the Huntington Gardens that day.
That's so
cool. Maybe I would have eventually, but just came in the forefront,
Mm-hmm. Hopefully we'll return soon to days where you can be in places learning about new things.
Yeah.
Not just getting your food and running out as fast as you can. Okay, so there's a little history of this home, this amazing waterfront home that's General Hollister lives in. And so we see, I can't remember what the shot is exactly, but we're in the home. He's in there wearing very sleek tuxedo. It almost looks like it's made of satin or some kind of shiny fabric. And he has made himself a pitcher of martinis. Which I love that. There is
Don't you do that all the time, Liz?
Well, only on Monday nights,
Oh, okay.
because it's going to throw me off if I do it too often. But I feel like in this episode, there's a lot of alcohol, just people drinking straight alcohol over ice.
Yeah.
There's several shots of
Kate Reid and Suzanne Pleshette, are they pouring like straight vodka with ice? Or?
Yes. There is, in an upcoming scene, Mrs. Stewart, she's getting ice cubes and just straight vodka. That's it. So I don't know. I tell myself he made a pitcher of martinis. Maybe it's straight vodka, and has a pitcher of it. I don't know. But anyhow, he pours himself a little. He has a lovely little. It looks like a little martini glass with gold rim. So he pours some of his drink into that. And there's two young men at his home in their military uniforms. They're picking up his military souvenirs, and they're packaging them into a big wooden crate, and they're going to take it from his house. And Columbo comes over, and he has to, say someone has said they saw a shooting here in your home. Can I please come in and take a look around? So he starts rifling through his wooden crate, and the guns that come out are so old looking. They're just like very vintage, very vintage. Oh, and I had to pause the show for some reason while Columbo was kind of rifling through the crate, and General Hollister is sort of standing off next to the crate, but there's a bookshelf behind Hollister. And I just happened to pause it while I was doing something. And when I came back, I noticed that behind him on the bookshelf were some Mrs. Melville books, Paul.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Is that some kind of a set directors being lazy, or was that on purpose?
Well, that would have been the set decorator, Richard Friedman. So perhaps he was making an inside joke, because certainly he could get some generic. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of generic stuff in the shot already.
So just to describe for the listener the house a little bit, it's got these really awesome red carpets and tons of green ferns and green plants all around. And there's a handful of statues, like Greek goddess type statues here and there. So it definitely gives off this sort of flavor of indulgence and luxury. And it has this pretty grand stone fireplace, and the bar, like I mentioned, it has a pretty stocked bar. And I love that Columbo mentions, of course, he always does things like this, but he mentions when he was growing up, they didn't have a real fireplace. They just had something they put in their fireplace that was a fan that blew on some ribbons that might kind of look like flames. Columbo's clearly very impressed by the space, and the general says it's just a basic BOQ, which of course I had to look up what the heck is a BOQ. It's a bachelor officer's quarters. So if you were an officer who was unmarried, you had your certain quarters, as opposed to if you were an enlisted soldier, or I guess if you had a family, you were not a bachelor. Clearly this home is much nicer than anything that a military officer bachelor would have. It's quite luxurious. And I like watching Columbo kind of wander through this house and look at everything. And, he does things like that in other episodes, but I feel like it's rare that he's in the home of the person under suspicion of murder with permission to just kind of wander and look. He's very curious, and he kind of takes his time, and he asks lots of questions, and he makes little observations. So I enjoyed this scene of him. It's kind of slow. This is the thing about Columbo. It's like so much slower than today's TV, because he's just like slowly walking through this house and making observations and asking questions.
I tried to watch a series the other night for reference. It was a period series. It was playing popular music but the TV show is set in an older time, and it was shot like it was a movie in terms of like some of the angles and stuff, which unless you're projecting it or you have a massive TV, don't think it makes. I think it would make more sense to do that just for a film. But I hear the TV a lot when my wife is watching television, and it's like this rapid fire dialogue. Yeah, it's the pacing of this to me is I love it. Maybe I'm kind of a dinosaur or something, but I appreciate that because there are some people who are doing probably television like this more. For sure in film, there's a British director, Joanna Hogg, who didn't make a film until she was older, like her own feature film, and she's awesome. And she has these scenes that just go on, and you see the character thinking about what to do, and you see behavioral aspects. And I think that sometimes you really gain a lot from the characters, and you gain a lot from the story, and you can feel what they're thinking sometimes, which in a lot of stuff now, it's like people feel like, oh, you got to go fast. This has got to burn, And so I really dig that about Columbo.
Yeah, I hope it'd be nice to see more of this. My kids can handle the Columbo pace. I think it's almost like it's calming or like relaxing. They'll watch a little bit of it with me, even though they're growing up clearly in the rapid fire, boom, 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 one punchline after the next kind of TV world. They can still appreciate the sort of slow and, I don't know, different pace. It's a different pace. Yeah, and the house is cool. It's, very 70s. Like I mentioned, the living room is like colors of red and green, and there's like off-white sofas and furnishings. And then Columbo goes to the hallway to see the bedrooms, which has this olive green, or it's hard to tell if it's like olive green or mustard yellow, but either way, one of those colors carpet. And then the walls have like a cool textured wallpaper. They're like a slate blue, like a really grayish blue color. And then the doors are all like a dark brown, and the doorknobs are gold. So it's just this cool color palette that you don't see anymore.
Do you think that this one was the interiors is on a set?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm pretty sure the living room was not on a set because you had those windows and you could even see out to the little deck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that was the actual home, but maybe.
Yeah, it might be a set. I kind of feel like it would be, but I didn't research that. I'm sure plenty of people have.
Yeah.
But I remember in a Lee Grant episode, Ransom of a Dead Man, was that the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
The interior of that is a set.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah, because I saw, well, I don't know for sure. I didn't cross-reference it, but I saw it in a Night Gallery episode.
Oh, yeah.
The Rod Serling series for Universal. Doesn't mean they couldn't have gone to the same location.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that they're lucky to have. It makes it cheaper if they can shoot on set, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, that'd be something to check for the next episode.
Yeah, and it does say that they did definitely film some things on studio, but I'm not sure. But here we get to see the general's bedroom again with his little dressing table or dresser that has this little TV on it. I love finding the old technology in these shows. And it has this little portable TV that's on this little plastic stand, and it totally looks like one of those iMac computers from the 90s. It had like the big bulbous back that was like a white plastic with a little color.
Yeah.
It totally reminded me of one of those. The TV was all white and it was smaller and it wasn't quite as smooth. It was a little bit more angular.
Yeah, it was really, that TV is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally like that.
And they look in so Columbo's, he's poking around. He's trying to get a feel for what's happening, if there's anything suspicious in here. And he asks if he can look in the closet, and he sees the guy's uniforms, and he says, General, that's a lot of fruit salad. When he looks at the general's, one of his uniforms.
Yeah.
And I love that. This episode, it has a handful of these little lines that I really like. But fruit salad, I guess I had to look it up. I mean, you can tell by the way Columbo delivers the line, but it is slang for a service member's show of ribbons and medals on their uniform. So it's like how many awards have you received kind of a thing that you put on your chest, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's got a lot of it.
I just thought the colors made him say that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that makes sense, but it is an actual slang expression.
Yeah. No, I didn't know. That's cool.
Oh, and one thing I want to point out, I don't remember if we see it here or earlier, but Hollister has a giant painted portrait of himself up in the living room, which I just think is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
That's what they call, Woody Allen in Stardust Memories would call that Ozymandias melancholia.
What's that?
You know that poem Ozymandias?
No, I don't.
Ozymandias, he was like an emperor. It's Percy Shelley.
Okay.
He was a pharaoh, Ramses II, and it's basically the poem is like you build a statue for yourself. You know, it's just completely an ego thing. This is all that's going to remain of you. They're not going to remember who you were, really.
Interesting.
So it's just sort of like
gesture.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's called Ozymandias was the name of the poem.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that in high school.
Cool. Good memory, Paul. I like it.
Well, I think I remembered it because Woody Allen has it in the Stardust Memories, which is kind of like a film about a filmmaker who it's kind of like 8.5, doesn't know what to make his next film about, but he has these weird scenes where people are watching his films, and then you have psychiatrists talking about the director, saying, yes, the director, I took care of him as a child. He suffered from this, and this, and we call his symptom Ozymandias melancholia. You know, just sort of this like ego driven, this, you know, what do you call it? What do you call that when you're having a narcissism?
Yeah, like a narcissist. You're a narcissist, basically.
Yeah, but you have a hang up over something. What do you call that? I get one martini and I can't think.
I know, martini is a strong drink, that's for sure.
Yeah, it causes you to kill old business partners.
Exactly.
You know, without thinking twice.
Exactly. Oh, well, in the end of this scene, he ends up sort of saying a little bit more than he probably should have about what he thinks the witness saw. You know, he's kind of trying to make up excuses for what the witness might have seen.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, this episode, it's never totally clear until a little bit later, but in the beginning, it's not clear how much Columbo suspects this guy. Yeah, we don't quite know. So the next scene, Hollister is determined to figure out who the witness was. So he visits Mr. Barnes, who runs the sailboat rental business at the harbor. And he's clever. He's like, Mr. Barnes, one of my old friends was waving at me and I couldn't quite see them or whatever. And so he gets Mr. Barnes to tell him who it was out on the water and where they live, which is a little creepy. And then we have the next scene. Columbo has kind of finished his search of Hollister's place. So now he's going to go meet Mrs. Stewart and get a sense for her. So he heads over to her apartment where she lives with her mother. He passes some young people having a little pool party outside her apartment, and they have this little cart of booze. I just love that little scene. And he's kind of like looking over his shoulder like, oh, that looks kind of fun, or I like that little moment.
Yeah. I liked all the background goers at the beach at the beginning when they call the police.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when they're at the harbor there.
Yeah, because you could see them all over the place. It's really nice. But yeah, these kids are great, the ones at the pool.
Yeah, I love it. And I was looking to see, on IMDb where that was filmed, but they don't have any attribution for that little pool scene. I mean, that's not a studio, but they just didn't include it in the credits or IMDb. I don't know. I don't know where else you include filming locations, but it's a mystery.
Maybe you could do a little research. I bet you could find out.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like more research, I should say.
Yeah. I did look on the Columbo File website. This one I think I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Where they have a map of locations where Columbo was filmed. But I don't even know where to start. I don't even know if they would have filmed that in Newport Beach or near there, or if they would have filmed that anywhere in LA. So yeah, it's hard to know. But anyhow, so he ends up at Mrs. Stewart's apartment. Mrs. Stewart is in her apartment pouring vodka over ice, like we mentioned already, stirring it with her finger.
And she's pouring it for 4 glasses. Why is that?
I think she only pours it for 2 glasses. She just has 4 on the tray.
I think the other glasses have ice in them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me look at it.
I think it's just 2 with ice, Paul.
You want to bet on it?
I do want to bet on it.
Let's see. Let me fast forward here. Oh, let me go back a little bit. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Telling you. Yeah, so she puts ice in 2 glasses, one for her, one for her mom, and then the cocktail they're having is just straight vodka on the rocks.
Hey,
I don't know.
70s, Liz.
70s, different times. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge anybody. But she's wearing this cool long house dress that's like a brown with white, but then the sleeves are 2 different fabrics of like red and black, and then there's this pattern in the front, kind of like a bib or like a smock look with all different fabrics in the front. It's this cool, very 70s. And she has on these cool espadrille. They're like fabric sandals that have like a straw heel. You've probably seen them before, Paul. They're called espadrille. Anyhow, she's wearing some of those, and her hair is so 70s. Even Beatrice commented on my youngest daughter commented on her hairstyle. She's not one to like point out.
What did she say?
I think she said her hair is not very pretty. I was like, what? What do you mean? It was just it was a different style. But
back then it was, Beatrice.
Yeah, so the top part is cut pretty short and curly, and then she has these long strands down low. It's very mullet. It's like a woman's mullet of the 70s, basically.
It's a little bit like the Joyce DeWitt from Three's a Company.
Yes. Yeah.
And our mom had that cut at one time.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Mom. It looked great on you, Mom.
But no, I think maybe you should try it, Liz.
Okay, Paul. I'm gonna YouTube some videos how to give myself that hairstyle, and then I'll do it. Because I haven't gone into a hair salon, so I'm gonna have to cut it myself. Anyhow, she also, just to top it off, she has awesome baby blue eyeshadow and light pink lipstick. She just is like, I love it. Her look is just awesome all around. I really appreciate this little tiny slice of life, because so much of Columbo is about the glamour of the LA elite.
Yeah.
But her apartment has a very different feel to it. So it's a little bit cluttered. There's a lot of books and magazines and art supplies and papers. There's tons of art on the wall.
Yeah, she's got a lot of cool pictures of weird statues or faces. And I felt that too. You don't usually see this in a Columbo. I liked that it felt real. It felt more organic in terms of, I guess, blue collar, or not blue collar, but middle class, or just not the elite, like you were saying.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like that. That's one of the fun things about doing this podcast with you, Paul, is like, I love these episodes and I've seen them all. Well, I haven't seen the most recent Columbos, but I've seen all of these originals. But I haven't always stopped to pause and kind of absorb what I'm seeing, like absorb the backgrounds and the costumes. And it's really fun to just slow down and look at what was an apartment like back then. And of course, this is Hollywood produced and everything, but still, it's like, it's a little slice of Hollywood history. It's fun to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see her mother again, Mrs. Walters. She's awesome. She's like, I love this. She's like, ask for his ID. So Columbo comes over, to talk to Mrs. Stewart, and Mrs. Walters is like, ask for his ID.
Yeah.
And she's super matchy once again. It's like she bought like an outfit, a shirt with matching pants, purple pants, white shirt with matching purple, like curved lines. And then she's wearing 2 long string of pearls, a white string of pearls and then pink ones. She's smoking a cigarette. She's funny. So she takes a good long look at Columbo's ID.
Doesn't trust him.
Does not trust him at all, which is good. And then she goes to make the green salad, which is our snack. I still have a little bit left. I'm going to have a little bite of my salad here.
Can I try a bite?
Yeah, here you go, Paul. So Columbo's trying to get a feel for Mrs. Stewart, and she's showing him around, showing him her stuff. She's doing some ceramics or sculpture. I thought her little llama sculpture was so cute.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally impressed.
I liked that she had all that stuff in there, and that I think some of the things on the wall might be hers, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up
She's
there.
got some sculpture faces on the wall, or one. Yeah, I love that she's this artist.
Yeah, me too. It was cool. You know, it's interesting though. So he's trying to get a feel for her, and he kind of questions her again about what she saw. And then she really puts him on the spot, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing that I don't know that happens very often in Columbo, but she's like, I saw what I saw. Do you believe me? Like, do you believe that this is what I saw? And that's a tough question for him because he's doesn't necessarily have a lot of information about it.
Which goes back to what you were saying about, he doesn't know. He's he's slightly perplexed because usually he knows off the bat, like, oh, this guy's full of crap.
Yeah.
He's lying, Yeah, I did like that because he's kind of like, you're not, like, what do I got to go on,
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. And he doesn't quite say, and that like I mentioned earlier, like we still don't quite know how he's thinking about the case, which normally, like you just said, in Columbo, he knows right away what's happening and he's on it pretty early on. But here he's like, I don't know if this is real or not. And we still don't know, even when she's really putting him on the spot, we still don't know how he feels, if Columbo believes her story or not. So he leaves, and then General Hollister comes over, and that's just creepy. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know,
I'm surprised the mom was so enamored with him, but then it kind of makes sense in some ways because she doesn't have good judgment.
Right.
And she's like, oh, this guy's great.
Yeah, I would be extremely uncomfortable if he came over. If I were in her shoes and he had come over to my house, I'd be like, oh my God, he's going to kill me too. He comes over, he asks her to watch the news because she can learn more about his character on the 10 o'clock news or whatever he says. So the next scene is over at the chili place with our chili pal Bert, played by Timothy Carey. Again, it's a different set though. It's not the same chili sets that we saw last time.
The first time they showed Barney's Beanery, that was interiors, real interiors. This was a set on Universal.
Yeah.
This is, Timothy Carey, was such an interesting actor.
Yeah. I like watching him. He kind of did some stuff with his arms, and it was almost like a beat behind the dialogue or something, but I just kind of like, he's fun to watch,
Yeah. When I said he was in that Minnie and Moskowitz film with Val Avery, the John Cassavetes film, who is good friends with Peter Falk.
Right.
He does this one scene in New York where he is like this diner where a lot of like winos hang out at. And he does this whole improv dialogue. It's weird and funny and strange. And yeah, I want to see more of his stuff. I saw him in another film called The Outfit where he plays like a gangster and Robert Duvall challenges him. Robert Duvall like breaks into a hotel room where these mobsters are doing poker with themselves, betting each other, these gangsters. And Timothy Carey plays the gangster who got Duvall in jail, if I remember correctly. It's a great scene, and Carey is so pissed. He's like ready to kill Duvall, but Duvall has a gun on him. And, Robert Duvall is a wonderful actor, and him and Carey, just like, it's a great little scene. But yeah, in the Minnie and Moskowitz, Carey is, and Val Avery both play kind of messed up characters, messed up the male masculinity, like crazy, violent men. I should say Timothy Carey, not so much, but he's strange. Val Avery, definitely.
Yeah, I could picture that. Well, in this scene, I just noticed a couple of things in the background that I thought was kind of cool. So they have like a chalkboard menu up on the wall, in the little diner, it says meatloaf dinner, $1.25. And then they have another little chalkboard sign that says French fries, 25 cents. Yeah, anyhow, it's like, wow, things are not 25 cents anymore.
Yeah.
And so then we see on the little TV set in the diner, and we see the news coverage that Hollister mentioned to Mrs. Stewart. They're talking about he's having this special dinner tonight to celebrate 25 years since his retirement or something like that, which is a very odd thing. I just think that's a really odd thing to celebrate. Usually you celebrate like when someone retires, not like the anniversary of a retirement.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the TV does a little flashback rewind of Hollister's career. Bert is very impressed, and Bert says Hollister reminds him of General Patton. And I was like, General Patton, is that a real thing? I have to look that up. And that is a real general who fought in World War I and maybe also in World War II. And he also had, I guess General Patton also had kind of a big presence and personality and could really get the troops kind of behind him. But then he also, I guess, put his foot in his mouth quite a bit and was a bit vulgar sometimes and kind of pissing off people above him at times. But maybe that's partly the inspiration for General Hollister. I mean, General Hollister didn't rub people the wrong way, but he definitely is portrayed as having a little bit of a showboat side to him. Okay, so the next scene after Columbo has watched this video, Columbo actually, he watches the video of Hollister, and we learn about Hollister's pearl-handled pistol, and Columbo kind of gets interested in that, like, where is that pistol? Because he didn't see that in the crate of guns that that got carted away by the military guys.
Bert says something about the gun, doesn't he?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, just like that's something you never want to let go of. And if you notice in Bert's greenery, he's got a rifle hanging in the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, there's that whole connection of, significance of a man's weapon.
Totally.
Or what's personal and close to them.
Right. So after the Bert's beanery, or, whatever Bert's calling his business in this episode, the next scene is back at Hollister's house. He's getting dropped off by some of his military colleagues. They seem quite a bit younger than him, and it's quite late at night. They're dropping him off, and he goes inside and suits up to go out on his boat. He pours himself more booze, which I cannot keep up with this guy. He's about to go out on his boat in the middle of the night after a night of drinking. So he comes home, puts on his I'm going out on my boat clothes, pours himself more booze. Then he touches a secret button on his bar area or desk area that opens up a secret wall, and that reveals the dead guy, Colonel Dutton, wrapped in plastic. And I think that this is probably one of the most gory moments in Columbo.
Yeah.
To see him in the plastic. It's like, ugh, God.
I think in some ways it's good because it shows you the horror.
Mm-hmm.
The movie Sicario had that same kind of scene. Similar, there's a bunch of bodies buried within the house of this, in this house. Mm-hmm. It's like a house in Arizona or New Mexico, I can't remember, where drug lords would kill people, right? And they would just keep the bodies there.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but the whole house in Sicario is filled within the walls with bodies.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, so just, the idea of murder and everything, I think this scene in Columbo really shows just the macabre element to that, Even though he's a major, it's almost like he's got a deer in there, It's like he did it to protect himself because he knew what he was doing was wrong, and, he didn't care about that guy, and he doesn't care about anybody.
Right. So he puts Dutton on the boat and weights his body down with some gold candlesticks or some kind of heavy, long cylinders of something, and he heads out in the dark to dispose of the body. And then in the next scene, he's coming back home, and it's daylight. The sun has risen, And he finds Columbo on his dock, on his personal, fancy schmancy Collins Island dock, fishing and waiting for him.
He's fishing.
Yeah, he has a fishing pole in his hand.
Literally fishing.
Yeah. And you get a really good view of Hollister's yacht. I guess it's kind of hard to appreciate how nice his home is, but then when you also see the yacht that pulls into the little harbor or whatever in front of his home, you get a sense for like, okay, this guy, he's got a lot of money. It's a very nice yacht. And I love this scene because Hollister and Columbo have this great little moment together. Actually, they have like two different moments together where they're talking about fishing because Columbo's got a fishing rod, but they're really talking about Columbo's trying to understand what happened in the house and the murder mystery, basically. Hollister says to Columbo, "You won't catch anything here. You're too close in." And then at the end, Hollister says to Columbo, "Here's some advice for you. Choose a different spot or find a different bait because you're not going to catch anything here." I like those little moments.
Yeah. Peter Falk, the actor, he moves in really quickly into the person's like comfort space, but he does this weird sort of genuine, like, I could have sworn that it's like he's in their face, but then he's like trying to endear them with like, I have this puzzling problem and maybe you can help me,
Right.
There's a really great like sort of dichotomy in keeping a balance, and also, messing with the person, but digging, you're digging. And it sort of throws them off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot.
Yeah.
Because he gets pissed, the major.
Yeah.
He's just like walking away from him, I mean, they usually get mad at Columbo.
Yes. Columbo's good at getting people mad at him. It's one of his strengths. All right. So next scene, moving on, is Griffith Park Petting Zoo. I was just wondering, Paul, have you and your kids ever gone to Griffith Park? I think maybe it's pony rides now. I don't know how much of a petting zoo there is, but.
Yeah. Well, they do have the zoo at Griffith. It's like on the outskirt connected to Griffith Park.
Oh, okay.
Because Griffith Park is, the circumference of that has a lot of areas.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've been to a petting area. I think maybe my kids did or something. If they even still have it there, I'm not sure, but they might.
Yeah, it looks like now they have a pony rides. I'm not sure how much of the petting is still happening there.
Okay, yeah, it's probably hasn't. It's probably changed, obviously, but probably same idea, keeping hold.
Yeah. Well, so this next scene is at the Griffith Park Petting Zoo, where Mrs. Stewart works. And she's in the zoo feeding animals with kids, kind of helping, make sure the animals are behaving and helping the kids feel comfortable around the animals. And General Hollister shows up in a nice suit and tie, and he invites her out for a drink in a public place, and she agrees, which is a little bit bananas.
Yeah, very bananas. I do like that she works there because it's sort of like it helps her, calm. Well, I mean, it looks like a lot of work, but at the same time, you could enjoy it because you're around kids and you're around animals, and it's different than her doing the sculptures and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it would be a pretty fun day's work,
Mm-hmm.
So the next scene is at a restaurant, the two of them sitting at a table drinking martinis. She's changed clothes. So she was wearing this t-shirt that was like big white and navy stripes, and she's changed into a navy turtleneck sweater with a white sweater vest. And this is where we hear the line, "We better prosecute these martinis before their statute of limitations expires," which is so cheesy. So he's trying to lay on the charm, and then he invites her for dinner, and she goes along with it. It's a little bit hard to stomach.
Disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, you just feel like, really? He's creepy by showing up at your home and then showing up at your work, even though her mother probably spilled the beans very quickly about where she was and, all that other good stuff. But anyhow.
Yeah, her mom seemed sort of enamored by him,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah, and so she's sort of like, why don't you be with him kind of thing.
Let me help you be
which
with
is
him.
insane. But I mean, that's also, there's a lot of that kind of stuff with moms and their child actors. There's a lot of dark stuff
Yeah.
that happens for the wrong reasons.
Right. And even moms without their child actors who just, some reason have it in their heads that they want their daughters to be with a certain type of person.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go to go that dark, but if you think about it, it's even worse, but they still do both. You know what I mean? So when we get the review and stuff, I'll get more into it.
Yeah. So the next scene after the restaurant, and the restaurant, by the way, I think that's probably a studio shot. It looked pretty generic. It was like an interior, no windows kind of a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't come up in IMDb as there's no restaurant location listed.
Mm.
So anyhow, the next scene is back at Mrs. Stewart's apartment. There's a big hot pot of coffee on the table, and Mrs. Walters is talking Columbo's ear off about her daughter. She's wearing a really cool house dress that's got green and purple and blue, like a floral print, but has a little bit of a psychedelic look to it. I think it's really cool. Again, we get a little flavor of Mrs. Walters, who we both agreed is pretty fun. She does a good job.
Yeah, that ring she has on, that's new too, isn't it? That green ring?
Oh, I didn't notice the ring.
Yeah, she got this huge sort of dark green. So
Mrs. Stewart comes home. She's like, I had dinner already, actually, with General Hollister. And and so they're both like, whoa. Columbo, of course, is disturbed. And like you pointed out, the mom is thrilled. She's like, yeah, wedding bells. And Columbo has an interesting tidbit about Colonel Dutton for Mrs. Stewart. He's like, listen, I found out that Colonel Dutton might be missing. He was supposed to take a flight to Geneva. He never showed up. And we found his car abandoned. And he had these business dealings with General Hollister. And he shows her a photo, and she's like, I don't know. It happened so fast. I can't tell if that's the person. And so then Columbo makes an interesting observation. Because, like we were talking about earlier, she was like, do you believe me? Yes or no? Like, this is what I saw. Do you believe me? And then he says to her in this scene, you have one dinner with General Hollister and you begin to doubt your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a good line.
It's a good line.
And it's one of the things that's just like frustrating about this character, right? You're like, come on, like, do you really not value yourself at all? I don't know. She values herself somewhat, but she's really losing her confidence here after spending time with him. She's really doubting what she saw.
Yeah, his tricks are working. He's getting what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It's like he's back in battle and he's taking her down slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So the next scene is the next day, or I don't know, a day or so later. He's invited her onto his yacht. And so we open the scene with Mrs. Stewart laying on his yacht. He's got these big blue pillows. So she's laying with her arms spread wide to the side and her legs spread a little bit open, not hugely open, her eyes closed. She's looking extremely relaxed, and she's wearing these awesome pink bell-bottom jeans and a turtleneck sweater with stripes in different shades of brown. I love her outfit. But anyhow, she's yachting. She's going out on the yacht with General Hollister. And I just have to say, and you probably feel the same way, she's so relaxed considering that she's on the boat of someone she thought might have been a murderer.
Yeah.
It's bananas. Okay, well, let's go to the next scene because this is one of my favorite moments here, these next two scenes. So after the yacht, he's asked her into his home for dinner, and he set up a lovely tablecloth. So I don't know if you noticed, but he had this little game table in his living room bar area. It had a checkerboard or chessboard on it. It was very bachelor style. But he has put a white tablecloth over it. He set it with his china, and he has this lovely 4-candle candlestick on the table, and he's feeding her. We don't actually know what. They've just finished dinner.
The candelabra, Liz.
Oh, excuse me. Candelabra, Paul. And they're having martinis, I think, or maybe just straight vodka on ice. I don't know.
I think champagne. They have a champagne bottle.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
Unless they verbalized. Yeah, I'm just looking at the images.
I thought I saw him pour from a pitcher.
Oh, maybe he does. Maybe they finished that and they're onto the martini.
Yeah, who knows? Woo, it must be feeling good. And she's wearing this awesome brown and white dress with buttons all the way down the front and a brown belt. And I gotta say, he looks kind of cheesy.
Yeah, his blue jacket and the
His
red
blue
shirt.
jacket with the red or orange shirt. Yeah, it's like a blue, pretty bright blue. It looks like a polyester, yes, with like brass buttons and then some weird little patch, like a I am special patch. I don't know. And then the shirt, like you said, it's like red or orange, and he has it unbuttoned just a little too low, and then white pants.
I think Burton Miller was trying to say, yeah, this guy's needs to go down.
I think so. I think this is one of Burton Miller's subtle cues. Like, I don't know about this guy. Maybe you shouldn't trust him. He's got too many buttons unbuttoned on his shirt.
Or just like, this, I hate this character. Let's make him really goofy looking.
Yeah. Yes. But they have a sweet little moment where, he's like, let's dance. And she says, no, I feel too embarrassed. And he's like, no, you have to dance with me. It's an order, which I definitely don't like that. But, he's trying to help her break through that embarrassment from her previous marriage about dancing. They dance together. It's a little bit awkward, like on purposefully awkward, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But also kind of sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a little blend of that. For me, when I'm watching it, I feel like a little bit happy for her. And at the same time, I'm like, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
But she's feeling some good feelings there. She's feeling a little joy. And I can totally understand why she's so quick to want to believe him and feel a sense of hope for her own, romantic future or whatever.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite moments of the episode where the two of them, they have this awkward kiss and then it cuts away quickly to the next scene where Colonel Dutton's body is found and this woman sees it floating in the water and she starts screaming. Yeah. I kind of love that editing, like they kiss and then you instantly go to like a scream in the body. And yeah, I like that.
Because that's who the guy is,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, have your 1 second of joy, but there's a scream waiting to come. So that's a short scene where they find Colonel Dutton's body, and then we see the general on his yacht hearing the news on his little radio. It's the next morning, I guess, and Mrs. Stewart's back home again. So he's on his yacht hearing the news. Columbo shows up at that moment, and General Hollister invites him on board. So Columbo shows up. He wants to talk about Colonel Dutton, and Hollister, of course, isn't thrilled to talk about Colonel Dutton, but he invites Columbo on board. He says, I have to test the engines, and he's going to like rev them, and they're going to go through the water at high speeds and talk about Colonel Dutton's body showing up. And Columbo clearly does not handle this boat ride well.
Yeah. Yeah.
He starts to feel kind of seasick.
Yeah, I like that it was really in the shooting it there.
Yeah, that was cool. I was thinking about that too. Like they must have had to teach Eddie Albert a little bit about those handles and the all the different levers.
Yeah, he probably knows how to do that in real life, though, I'm guessing. Maybe not, but he seems like the dude that would.
Okay, when they get back to Hollister's house, Mrs. Stewart's waiting with a bag of food for a picnic, and Hollister says to Columbo, I love this line, if you ever want to go out again, I'll be happy to take you. There's like so many little nuggets in the writing in this one. I love that. I love that moment.
Yeah, he's just gonna go along with the lie. He's just like he's not gonna do any more battle of wits. He's just gonna like play dumb.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Columbo clearly got seasick on the boat. So you're like, I mean, it's passive aggressive kind of thing to say,
Oh
right?
yeah. I meant to watch this one twice again, but I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, Paul.
And you know what's funny? This one, I remember seeing this one. I remember this one, the Ricardo Montalban one, and the John Cassavetes one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for some reason, those three stick out in my head.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them all though. Like you said, the new ones I haven't seen, but I think I've seen all the early ones from the 70s.
I've definitely seen the early ones, but not the later ones at all.
We'll have to hit
or like only we'll have to figure out how to get those, Paul. We might have to be like buying them. I don't know. Okay, so then the next scene, there's only a couple scenes left. Columbo's back at Bert's chili place. I don't know if we want to call it Barney's Beanery. That's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or just
it's much smaller in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah. And something clicks in Columbo's head in this moment. I think it's because Bert tells him, is this the scene where Bert shows him all of his war memorabilia that he couldn't bear to part with?
Yeah, I thought it was the other scene. I forgot that he goes back and reveals it there.
It must be this time because
it's this time.
Clicks in his head that like, oh my goodness, there's no way that Hollister doesn't have that gun.
Yeah.
That pearl-handled pistol. And so he gets a dime from Bert to make a phone call to Mrs. Stewart to meet with her and talk with her about his revelation. I just want to say like 10 cents to make a phone call. It was a quarter. It feels like that hasn't kept up with inflation because it was a quarter to make a phone call not that long ago.
Yeah.
So he calls Mrs. Stewart and asks her to meet him at the museum where they have all of Hollister's military memorabilia. So she shows up, and the next scene, they're at the museum, and she shows up. I just want to point out that there's a ton of all the background people are, especially the women, are wearing cool 70s outfits. So this is around 1 hour and 7 minutes. If anybody wants to see some fun 70s clothes, there's some good stuff going on at the museum.
Is that in the studio?
I'm pretty sure that's a studio shot.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if there's a better.
Could be, right? The floor itself looks kind of museum-y.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a little of the Huntington Gardens.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, they have one of the areas they have. Yeah, that you can see. That's like the Octavia Butler I was telling you.
Uh-huh.
It had a similar feel to it, like this. Very different. No flags or guards and guns and all that. But it's a huge building that's one floor. But it reminded me of this somewhat.
Very cool. Well, Mrs. Stewart shows up in an awesome outfit. She has this blouse with a matching beanie or hair wrap.
That's pretty cool.
And then she's under like a matching light gray or bluish sport coat and pants. So she's just like, she's looking good. And she's there to meet Columbo, and he's showing her around and talking about how Hollister is a special kind of person and who has an extraordinary amount of courage and doesn't flinch, when things go wrong. And then Columbo also points out how even his uniforms feel a little bit vain. And she makes a nice comment that not everyone wants to look like Columbo, like an unmade bed, basically. Which I think is pretty awesome. There's an old interview you can watch online. I think it's on YouTube, but I found it on the Columbo File website when I was looking at trying to find where some of these shots were filmed. I don't want to read it and have my take on it kind of, influenced, but I like to see what the resources are in terms of where it was filmed. But I happened to see there was an interview with Suzanne Pleshette, and she spoke about in this episode that Peter Falk was having some conflicts because he apparently wanted to be the director of this episode, and they didn't let him.
Oh.
And so his way to kind of push back on that was to not come to set. So they used a stand-in, and in this final scene, I think all of the scenes where you see Columbo's back
Mm-hmm.
with Eddie Albert and Suzanne Pleshette. I think that is a stand-in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Columbo didn't show up to shoot, and he was going to be sued by the studio because he was saying that he was sick, but he wasn't really sick. He was just kind of blowing it all off. And so he didn't want to get sued, so he showed up to film these remaining scenes, and the director told him, "You know what? I'm already done. I don't need you. I've already filmed it." So Columbo did not get filmed in those scenes. Obviously, he's there saying his lines. There's no moment where you can see his face and their faces in the same shot.
Suzanne Pleshette and him?
Yeah, or Eddie Albert, when Eddie Albert shows up.
Oh, really?
So he delivers all of his lines on his own from one shot.
There is a shot where they're looking at the bullet in the war manual where you can see Suzanne Pleshette and Columbo.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's the only one.
That's when they first walk in. You can see them together for quite a while. But maybe it was like towards the end there where it's just like him, medium shot, her.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So there's a couple shots, the two of them. You're right. You're right. But then after, I gotta say, at least the last like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
he's not actually in the shots.
If he said, "We don't need you anymore," he just meant by like coverage, since they already had him doing the lines.
Yeah, I guess so. Or maybe they had him just do those lines again and not the scenes with Eddie Albert and Suzanne Pleshette.
Yeah.
But her interview was really interesting. She said that he was basically, Columbo, Peter Falk, was basically being a jerk when they were filming this.
Oh, wow.
And he was a friend of hers,
Yeah.
but there was some kind of conflict happening with the studio at the moment,
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. Getting back to the director, Jack Smite, I just was reading a biography that the director's cousin put his biography online. You can find it on this thing called medium.com, I forget what. But if you just type in Jack Smite biography, you can find it probably. He doesn't mention Columbo. Like, he mentions all his early TV stuff, but I was reading it to find out about, this Columbo. He only did one episode. It seemed like he got along well with people, that he was very nice to people. Like the jazz music in the beginning of the movie, I don't know if you remember, that's probably more, it's the composer, but Jack Smite loves jazz. He did the first jazz show on TV, like one of the first jazz shows called The Sound of Jazz. You can watch it on YouTube. He had like Billie Holiday, everybody in there.
Wow.
Yeah, Jack Smite, I think, kind of underrated director. I had never heard of him until this and looked him up, and I had seen some of his films and didn't realize it, like The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury with Rod Steiger. I recently watched Harper with Paul Newman, which is a classic, and Paul Newman wanted to make the film with Jack Smite. And so anyway, that's interesting, though, that I do know Neil Simon said that Peter Falk, when he made this movie called Murder by Death with Peter Falk, that Peter Falk would wander off because the only way he could memorize lines was if he was walking.
Oh, wow.
And so they got him a Stairmaster.
Oh, how funny.
They put a note on it and said, "Now we'll know where you are at all times." Because he would just wander off to memorize lines. But it's funny that Suzanne said that, because I don't doubt that that's partly what happened or truly exactly what happened. But memory is a funny thing. But it's easy to forget things or misremember,
Yeah.
Just the way your memory is, how the way things stand out. But that's really interesting to hear that, because that's too bad for Jack Smite. He directed a lot of things. He won an Emmy for a TV thing he did with Mickey Rooney.
Oh, okay.
If you go online, Jack Smite's biography is, if you like anything about Hollywood, he talks about working with Jack Warner, like all kinds of really interesting personal things with his career. The famous critic Pauline Kael made fun of Jack Smite. Paul Newman did a couple films with Jack Smite. The other one was Secret War of Harry Friggs. The name is something like that. And Pauline Kael gave a review. I think it was that film. And she said, "Why would Paul Newman work with Jack Smite if he wants to learn how to become a director?" Basically just, putting him down. But Pauline Kael was a very harsh critic. I think Jack Smite was like jazz. I think he was able to ensemble really good performances. He always did rehearsals for his movies. I don't know if he did it for this. He came from live TV, and I think he let people do their work. I don't think he interfered too much. I don't think he tried to put too much of his own personal stamp, so to speak.
Yeah.
A lot of people said he was really nice, and some people said too nice, which I think is maybe unfortunate. But I think he had a really good career. If you look at his body of work, and I've seen a handful of the films he did. He did one called Damnation Alley. It's like a futuristic thing, and it's super entertaining. It's definitely a time capsule of a movie. But there's a lot of his other ones, like The Screaming Woman, that I'd like to watch. But if you can watch The Sound of Jazz on YouTube, and if you like jazz, it's pretty cool. But he did a lot of live TV. Anyway, I'm getting us off track on the Peter Falk.
That's cool.
Competing, him wanting to direct. So it must have been hard, I would imagine, because maybe Peter Falk was resentful, obviously not showing up,
Yeah. Okay, so in this final scene at the museum, obviously Columbo lays it on the line. He figured out that Hollister never lost that pearl-handled pistol and that he used it to kill Colonel Dutton, and that the ballistics report came back that the gun that he has hidden in plain sight is the murder weapon. And so then he gets General Hollister gets walked out of the museum by the police officers, and Columbo tries to comfort Mrs. Stewart and tell her, don't give up on love. There's still hope for you. You might find someone like a cop.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
He apologizes. General Major apologizes to her. After the cops have her, he's like, I'm so sorry. And she starts crying.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's too little, too late.
Yeah.
Well, should we do our overall ratings of this episode, Paul?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this one, I would give a C plus, maybe like a 78 or something out of 100.
Yeah.
When I remember seeing the boat, I was like, oh, I remember this one. I don't want to see this one again. But then I didn't remember much of it. I really like Kate Reid, and I really like Suzanne Pleshette. Felt like there wasn't enough sort of wit, trying to figure out the truth, or like sort of the battle of wits. I mean, there was some of that. But Suzanne Pleshette going along with him, and the mom, I guess, pushing her in that direction was kind of a bummer, because there's not, the female characters. It's just the two of them, right? Yeah, and so they're sort of seen, as not that smart, Maybe that's not the right word. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that this is one of my less favorite episodes of Columbo, and I think it's for the similar reason that the women are, just maybe not as believable or relatable. The fact that Mrs. Stewart is just so fast to fall for Hollister's charm, which he isn't even that charming.
But like to flip her gut reaction, and for the Columbo to call her on that.
Right. Yeah, that part's a little frustrating and makes this less enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I think I'd probably give this like a 6.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a D. I'd give it a D.
Yeah.
I definitely love the mom. I think she does a great job. And I think Suzanne Pleshette does a great job as well, but I just don't really love what happens to her as a person in this episode, which she didn't have control over, right?
Yeah. So John T. Dugan was the writer. So, and he did one other Columbo episode, so we should revisit his work again in terms of what he lays out and what he wants to show the world, I guess. But I guess in some ways, women control their sons and daughters, regardless of the status quo. So if they want you to be subservient, to male, that's on the mother, right? And it's on the daughter's choice of going along with it as well, even though this is written by a man. But there still is that reality that is believable for mothers and daughters to behave that way, don't you think?
Yeah, no, you're right. I guess I just don't expect to see it played out like this, in such a obvious. I mean, it's one thing to want for your daughter to find somebody with some power and influence and money, but it's another for you to go from accusing someone of murder to like dating them. I mean, that it just feels like a stretch even for that more traditional gender roles. This feels like not quite that believable, basically.
Yeah. If you look at like the Polanski case, I haven't really studied it, but I do know that the girl she was really young. She's like 13, the one in the United States. And then the mother, I think the mother knew where the daughter was going, to this adult director's house, and it's just going to be the two of them. And he was going to take pictures of her,
I mean, it's like a dark way to think about a Columbo episode, Like, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that people do those things, but like to feel that played out in a Columbo is just like, what? This is not what I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she was so convinced, and she's kind of like this artist and bohemian, and then she's telling her mom, like, no, I know what I saw. We got to call the cops. But then all of a sudden, there's the transference and the change seem kind of weak.
Yeah. I mean, she's a grown woman. She's been married. She's lived out of the home. She's had experiences separate from her mom. So it feels like her mom shouldn't have that kind of power over her anymore to make her second guess herself so completely the way she does.
Yeah. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, because St. John was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you're right. This is not cool.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites. I mean, I think there's some fun sets, on the water, and there's some fun costumes. I think Eddie Albert is a little bit boring as an actor.
Yeah.
Or a character. I don't know how to exactly say what's what here, but he's not super fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not awful to watch. It's just he's a little bit like
Stiff,
yes, and sort of his affect doesn't change a whole lot during. You don't see a whole range of emotions or experiences come out of him. So this is like a lower scored Columbo in my mind.
Yeah. I wonder if Peter Falk would have changed some of what we're talking about had he been the director.
Maybe.
I wonder if he felt some of these things and wanted to direct it. Because it's like, did he ever direct any of the episodes?
I don't know. I don't know that they ever let him.
Because, I mean, Jack Smite was pretty well liked. Doesn't mean that Peter Falk didn't have his reasons of wanting to direct. Let's see. He directed the Cassavetes Columbo and then Blueprint for Murder. So it said Nicholas Colasanto and Cassavetes and Peter Falk, all three directed, kind of. Yeah, that's one of the good ones. Yeah, it's interesting because Peter Falk and Jack Smite both knew Val, what's his name?
Val Avery.
Val Avery and Timothy Carey,
Mr. Barnes and Bert.
Because those guys are New York guys and they work with Cassavetes and, a couple films, not just Minnie and Moskowitz. They had done other stuff with Cassavetes as Peter Falk did. But I wonder, where the disconnect came in with him wanting to direct.
Yeah.
But it's early too. So maybe, maybe he was like, hey, let me direct.
Yeah. They're like, hold on.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Just getting started, dude. Well, Paul, do you have a little quiz for me? A little true false thingy for me this week or no?
Yeah. I saw Eddie Albert in Beverly Hills and I looked at him and he looked at me.
Eddie Albert in Beverly Hills. Can you tell me where in Beverly Hills you are? Uh-oh.
Yes. He was like in this, I want to say it was a Rolls Royce.
What?
And he was going in the opposite direction. I was going left and he was coming out of the neighborhood there. He was going east and I was going west, if that road goes that way.
Oh, Paul, I'm going to have to say no, that's not true.
It is true.
It is?
It is. Yeah, like in
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it was like when I came out here to Los Angeles during school. I
should have asked when this happened, and that would help
Yeah,
me.
so this would have been like 92. I worked at the AFI Film Festival, which is now like the LA Film Festival. Yeah, he was coming out. He looked directly at me. I looked directly at him because I think he was kind of like, oh, you recognize me. And then he just turned, but it was definitely like an eye connect. And I might have been in driving that red Honda scooter.
Oh, nice. Little scooter.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, I was like, it's that dude from Green Acres. I don't know if I knew his name. And he was alone. It was just him. And I want to say it was either a Mercedes brown, like friend of ours in Munich had, or our neighbors, or it was a Rolls Royce, but I think it was a Rolls Royce.
Nice. It's fantastic.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. You and Eddie.
And he looked exactly the same, you know?
I'm so glad it didn't decide to just ride into you, Paul, on your little scooter.
Yeah.
It's like you peasant.
To
You peasant on your scooter. Clear the way for my Rolls Royce.
And I think it was meant to be because the universe knew we were going to do this podcast.
Exactly. The universe was like, we got to give Paul some good trivia findings. Yes. I love it. Well, we'd like to thank Maxime Gervais for our theme song, Columbo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you'd like to add to our conversation, you can email us at trenchcoatcigar@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at trenchcoatcigar. And Paul, just one more thing.
What, Liz?
Thanks for listening.
Yay!
Yay!
Rien à foutre devant l'expertise policière. T'avais un plan sans faille, pensez à chaque détail. L'inspecteur Colombo pensera toujours en